Welcome. Welcome home, everybody. Doesn't it feel good to be here?
Yes.
And you know, a part of feeling that is Dr. Raina Weldon is back there holding this this service in prayer, which is anchoring a different energy in here. Anytime prayer is said, it's a different energy. And think of how many prayers have been said in here. And we just feel that when we come in, if we're open to it. So I've got a cute joke for you today, if I can remember it exactly. So a woman is leaving choir practice, and oh, she is so inspired. So she gets in her car, and she finds that she had a sign for her car, and it says, "Honk if you love Jesus." So she promptly gets out of her car, puts it across her bumper, and drives away, and is stopped at a stoplight. And she's looking at something in her purse, not realizing the light had changed. So the man behind her is honking. She's waving out her window. This is wonderful. You know, he must really love Jesus. Well, then another man started to honk. And another, she said, this is like choir. Everybody loves Jesus. And then as the light changed, she went through, and she was the only one that got through the light. Cute story, huh? So today, where are we living? It's a good question, isn't it? I think through a day we can go through many aspects of where we're living. And I just want to mention, on the way over, see, 2 weeks ago I told you I was listening to Lukenbach, Texas. So my consciousness is elevated. I was listening to Godspell on the way over. And I walked in, and there's Rachel playing that beautiful song from Godspell. So anyway, there's a story about a 16th century rabbi who was a Hasidic rabbi and known for his brilliance in his writing. And he's laying on his deathbed, and he's frightened. And his students are all around him, and they're saying, "Rabbi, why are you so frightened?" And the rabbi said, when I meet Jesus, he said, and Jesus asked me, let me think of his name for a second. Zusha. If he says to me, "Zusha, why weren't you Moses?" He said, I can say very easily, "Well, Master, I wasn't Moses because I didn't have Moses' strength." So he said, and if he asks me, why weren't you Solomon? I can say, well, I didn't have Solomon's wisdom. And they said, why are you so afraid? He said, I'm afraid because if they ask me, why weren't you Zusha? He said, I'm afraid I may not be able to answer that. So isn't that for all of us? You know, why aren't we the very best we can be? Because in the life we are given, that's our call. This is our journey. This is our work in the life that we're called. You know, many years ago, I won't mention her name because maybe some of you know it. I had 3 small children and a husband who was traveling a lot, which was fine, except it wasn't sometimes. And there was a woman that lived several blocks from me, and her home, honestly, it looked like something out of a Southern living, the big white columns and 4 perfect children, wonderful husband. And I used to think, if only I could have her life. I can't tell you how often I thought that, if I just had Sharon's life. Well, that went on for a while. And then one day I realized I wouldn't have made a good Sharon. That wasn't my life. I need to be a good Barbara. That's where my work is. It's not outside of myself, it's within. I don't know if ever you've done that with somebody. Think, gosh, if they had their life, everything would be great. Well, we know life is life, no matter how much money you have or not, or position, life is life. So we're going to talk about spiritual. Where are we living? When I first heard the 4 stages of spiritual consciousness, this was something Reverend Michael Beckwith started many, many years ago. And he's traveled all over the world with it. He's been on Oprah many times talking about this, UCLA. And it's very helpful. At least it's very helpful to me, and I hope it'll be helpful to you. So the first stage is the victim stage. Does anybody, well, I'll just ask. The victim stage is the stage where we say, "to me." Has anybody ever done that? Oh, look at what life is doing to me. Look at what they've done to me. And oh, my parents, wait till I tell you that story. And my ex-husband, what he has done to me. So we blame other people. The power is outside of ourselves. We have no control because other people have set us up, so to speak, which we have allowed, but we don't even realize we have allowed it. It's just a consciousness which we live in, and it's not a creative place at all. How can we create when we think everybody else has done something to me, correct? So I think about the Fillmores. They were the co-founders of Unity. And we know that Myrtle had tuberculosis, and at that time it was a death sentence. Charles had a leg that was 4 inches shorter, and anybody that has walked with a limp knows, and I have many times with my hips, how challenging it can be. It's fatiguing. And I thought how easy it would have been for them to live in a victim stage. Why have I have TB? I know it's a death sentence. He's saying, why did this happen where I limped so badly? And yet, maybe at some point they were in that victim stage, but they were able to recognize it and move out. So that is our job, and it's the easiest thing to recognize. Anytime we go into that stage of, look at what they've done to me, we can say, oh, I've caught that. Nobody's doing anything to me unless I allow it. So when that happens and we start thinking, to me, we can say to myself, I'm back into a victim consciousness, and that's not where I belong. You see, my life is here for the presence and the Spirit of God to flow through. And when I block it, and how often I've heard people say, well, it's God's fault. Well, that's great. Except it doesn't get us very far, does it? No, we take a responsibility, but many people truly get stuck at that level. You know, I've told you many times the story about the woman at the beauty salon. I was having my nails done, and she was going to person to person to person, telling this story about what her husband did to me and what he loved, blah, blah, blah. And I just closed my eyes and said, oh God, don't let her come to me. Well, of course, I was right on the row. So she came to me and she started talking about this husband. He left her, what he did to me. He didn't leave me any money, and oh, it was me and all things. And I said, well, when did he die? And she said, 40 years ago. So there you go, you know. So we want to move. We want to recognize. The first thing is awareness. We need to be awake. You know, the Buddha, what did the Buddha say when they asked him if he was an angel or a saint? He said, no, I'm awake. So we become awake when all of a sudden we go back into that, oh, look at what he did, what she did, what my children did. It's easy to go there. But the thing of it is, Reverend Michael used to say, it's not a matter that we don't go there. It's a matter how fast we can get out. How fast can I recognize, that's not where I want to be. That's not where I live. Because if I live in that victim stage, then I'm not allowing the Spirit, this marvelous Spirit that can do all things, that has called us into being from all eternity, to do its work, to flow through, in, and as us, as spiritual beings, not as victims. So I think it's so important to remember when we start saying, to me, that's not where I live. That's not where I'm meant to live. I am here to express the Spirit of God as my life. You know, what we teach in Unity is there is one life, and that life is the life of God, and that life is my life now. And if we believe that that life is my life, then I have power. I am not all powerful, but I have power because I have what is all powerful moving through me as my life. Isn't it a beautiful thought? So we can move out of that victim stage of who does what to who and blah, 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 because that's what it is. It's blah, 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 right? And we don't want to get stuck here. Some people live their life here. But the next stage that we go to, all of a sudden, perhaps we come to a Unity Church. Perhaps we take a class. And Reverend Sandra's class is absolutely marvelous. If you weren't there last week, join her. She's a wonderful teacher. I enjoyed every moment, Reverend Sandra. Thank you. So we take a class, or we pick up a daily word and we read that. We read something, a psalm hits us, and all of a sudden we think, you know, life could be by me. I don't have to be a victim of to me. I have some power here. Through my thoughts, I can change things. So we start to call this the stage of princess and parking spaces, okay? And we begin to realize through the power of my life, I have the ability to control my life and to create my life. However, we have to be very careful that we don't get stuck here, because when we are creating our life, this is wonderful. We create what we want here in our job, but what if it all falls apart? If we're in that stage. Now, it's a great stage to be, much better than the victim. And you know, we have to, there was always a story that stuck with me. We have to be very careful what we think and what we create in our princess and parking spaces and jobs or whatever. There was a woman that was going to use this in class. Oh my. She wanted a companion. She wanted someone to love. She wanted someone to watch TV with and cuddle with and take walks with. And pretty soon, a neighbor knocked on her door. And she said, I've got your answer. I've got someone that's going to love you and cuddle you and hold you and walk. You can walk. And there was a Cocker Spaniel puppy. So we need to be very, very careful of what we are creating with this. However, you know, what happens if it all goes down? And we watch that a lot, don't we? People that have created wonderful jobs, wonderful marriages, whatever, and all of a sudden it ends. So do we jump out a window? I mean, where do we go? If there's nothing more than just creating by me, where do we go? Dr. Ken Timken, who was a famous psychiatrist in Dallas years ago, he created Timberlawn. He had a TV show for a while, and he used to talk about the child that was on the elevator with his mother, a little 3-year-old, and the mother was holding a baby in her arms. The elevator was crowded, and the child was just jumping and annoying everybody. And all she did was she put her hand on his shoulder, and he calmed down. Now, Ken's point, Dr. Timken's point in this was she was filling his bank with love and with comfort. So at the by me level, we are thinking how powerful I am, and we do have power. That's part of Unity's teaching, the power to create through our thoughts. But when things go down, where do we go? You know, we watch people, 7-Eleven, not 7-Eleven. That's where we get our drinks. And I mean Cokes, I'm not talking about... We don't want to go and get drinks after church. Coffee, maybe, lemonade. I lost my train of thought. But where do we go if we don't have that bank? And that's where the third stage comes in, of through me. So we start, and sometimes it takes a tremendous fall down. The job is gone, the marriage is gone. And what do we do? You know, there are people that literally commit suicide over that. But when we start to fill out, perhaps someone gives us the daily word, someone says something to us, someone reads a song to us, someone says, God bless you. And I hope you all do that with people. I do it all the time. And I'm amazed at how many people say it back to me. Something that tells them there's something more than just by me. That there's a power and a presence in this universe that I can use, and it can use me. And so when it all goes down, then I start that ladder to climb up, further and further up, knowing again, there's a power and presence for good in my life, and I can use it. So, you know, Ricky Byers wrote a song now, and it was said, are you ready to listen now? And isn't that the call to all of us? It's like this by me, and oh, I'm so powerful, and all of that, until we go and get a notice from our boss that says our job is over, or the wife runs away with our best friend. Then it's like something, we either can give up, go into deep depression, and that's our life, or we can listen to that wonderful phrase, are you ready to listen now? And that's our call. Are we ready to listen? Not to the voice outside, but are we ready to listen to that inner voice that is always saying, come, come. You are more than this. You are more than any human circumstances. Not because you are more, but because I am more within you. I will carry you. I will maintain you. I will sustain you. Those are the promises. And when we can move certainly out of the victim level where everything has happened to me, and then we have the power, which is very important. We have the power through our thoughts to create our life. So things happening by me. But when things go down, then we move in hopefully, prayerfully. And sometimes people don't have the prayers. That's where our prayers come through and lift other people. They say that our grandparents, our great-grandparents, people that have prayed for us 100 years ago, those prayers can come and lift us even now. The universe never forgets a prayer. So these prayers are all there. And it's, again, like Spirit saying, are you ready to listen now? I've got a wonderful life planned for you, better than you could ever imagine, better than money, better than anything, because with me, all things are possible. Are you ready to listen now? So things start happening through us. I'm just looking. This is where synchronicity begins. It's a bank like a car. We want to fill up our car just like we would if the car was out of gas. And there were times when we just run out of gas. Have you ever done that? Just flat run out of gas. So we fill it up. And then synchronicity starts to happen. This wonderful thing where people say, oh, just a coincidence. Well, you can tell them they don't know what they're talking about. However, you may say that silently. You may not say it out loud to them. But this is where these coincidences happen, and it's God's way of remaining anonymous. I work with a client. She's a physician in a whole different state, and she has more synchronistic events happening to her. And one time, she sings in a choir, not the choir I was just talking about earlier, but she does. And she wondered what happened to someone who sang in the choir with her, because he just seemed to disappear. His phone was disconnected. And she wondered, and this went on for a while, and she got stopped at a stoplight. This was a big city, and there was the license plate with his name on it right in front of her. Now, I mean, the chances of that, can you imagine? But that's how, when we are in tune with the universe, something magnificent happens. I've shared before about my son, and he did come in June, but I've never seen him since. And what he did tell me with his daughters, he's got 3 children, that his daughters are over in my area all the time. Well, the great sadness came in because it's been 7.5 years since I've seen them. And I won't recognize them. 7.5 years, from 7.5 to 14.5 is a big change. And certainly the last time they saw me, I had a different color hair. I had fewer wrinkles. I'm sure they wouldn't recognize me. And this really made me sad. I thought, what if I walk right by them and don't know them anymore? And so I prayed about that. And I said, if there's any way that I can get a glimpse of these girls, I would be so grateful. Well, this thing of its spirit is, it takes its time. Sometimes it's instantaneous, but remember, every prayer is heard. Every prayer, every thought is heard. Every thought is a prayer. So as this went on for a long time, and I've been blocked from all social media with them. So on Instagram, this just happened about a month ago. My older son, Trey, the kids post a lot. So I went into his Instagram to see what he had to say. And on the other side of it, I don't know if anybody watches that, it says, and you might know, and they name people. Well, there was my youngest granddaughter's, Mia White, and do you know her? And I thought, well, I know I'm setting myself up for disappointment, and I'm probably blocked, but I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get in to her account. And lo and behold, there she was. There were 4 pictures of her taken in June and her sister, and I got to see them. And I cannot tell you the joy of seeing them, and of course, then it made me even miss them more. But I don't know the next step of what Spirit will do. But again, I was so grateful that if I saw them, I'd recognize them. Because wouldn't it be sad to walk right by your grandchildren and not see them? So I say this to say that with God, all things are possible. Sometimes it takes the universe longer time, but every prayer is answered. And even prayers that we think are not answered, in some way they are answered. So we're never alone. I can't is a saying, God can, so I think I'll let God. This is the stage that is in, through me, God working through me. I'm relaxed more. I know that I'm not alone in this universe because my life has meaning and purpose, and if it didn't, I wouldn't be here. And the day I close my eyes for the last time, I will know it's over with. My work is done, and I'm going to be like Zusha. I'm going to say, oh, I hope he asks me that I'm not Moses, but when he asks me, are you the best Barbara that you can be? My prayer is, my answer will be from the bottom of my heart, yes, I have been the best that I know how to be in this lifetime. So the last level is as me. Now this comes to the level of Jesus and Buddha, Muhammad, where I and my Father are one, where we really join hands with the saints and avatars who say one with God is a majority, and that is the truth. One with God is a majority. We think we need this and we need that. One with God is a majority, and from that purview, everything that we need is provided. Is it the new home? Maybe. Is it the new car? Maybe. But that's not what we're looking for anymore. We are looking for the power and the presence and the Spirit of God, or this great universal presence to move through us, as us, and we can really open our arms and say, use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. That's the level of consciousness. Our bodies relax. The endless march of our thoughts start to subside. All things working together for our good. And even when it seems like they're not, when we are in this consciousness of awareness, we have to know that no matter what it is, all things are working together for my good. You know, I've mentioned, I think before, that my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, who's just precious, and she was engaged to a wonderful man, dresses, everything, and they called off the engagement. And I think perhaps it was more her than him. And she is devastated, devastated. And you know, I was writing to her. She wasn't overly, I have to be careful not to preach to my grandchildren, and they go, click, delete. There she goes again. But I have to know for her, she has led such a beautiful life, that all things are working together. If not this, something better. And that's what we keep in mind, because when we're in that conscious awareness of the Jesus, the Buddha, Muhammad, whoever these great saints and avatars are, then we know that if it's not this, it will be something better, because I am led, I am directed, and I am guided by a power that is so magnificent and so great, to see thee more clearly, to follow thee more dearly, and to love thee, to follow thee more nearly and love thee more dearly. That's what we live for. So in the book of Joel, and I watch this happen so many times, in chapter 2, verse 25, all the years the locusts have eaten will be given back to you. And when we're in this consciousness, no matter what has happened in the past, it is given back to us in some form that we get to redo it one more time at this level of consciousness. I have witnessed it with myself, with my own family, and with others. All the years, we can say, oh, if I could, you know, if I did this, or I could only do that again, it will come around again. All the years the locusts have eaten, it will be given back to us. And at that point in time, we get to redo it from a different realm of consciousness. Marcia Sinitar, I don't know if she's still writing or not, but one of our books in practitioner training was Ordinary People as Monks and Mystics. And that's you, and that's me, because ordinary, I'm not going to say that, but each one of us that are on this path have chosen to be regular people as monks and mystics. We hold the consciousness for the world. And again, one with God is a majority. So we get to know and carry that, because we think, oh, a monk is here and a mystic is up on a roof in India or a hill in India. But it's you and it's me that do the work, that absolutely stand in the awareness, again, that with God all things are possible. And that is the honest truth, no matter what it is and how desperate we are and how desolate we are. There is a power and presence for good in this universe. We can use it and it can use us. Use me, oh God, I stand for you. And here I will abide as you show me all that I must do. We are open and miracles happen. We wake up in the morning and we say, lead me where you need me and I will follow. And it's amazing what comes up for us. And we can always say no, but yes, I've got to watch my time. Doug will be so proud of me if I get, I've got 2 more minutes. Don't worry about a thing. But we really, now I've lost my train of thought, but we really get to surrender. This is a surrender. And you think, oh my gosh, I can't surrender. What if God's idea isn't what my idea is? What if we let that go? Lead me where you need me, and I will follow. So the levels of consciousness are to me. Oh, life, what it's done to me. And then we move up to the by me. Oh, I've got some power here. I've got the power of my thoughts, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to create that, and we end up with a Cocker Spaniel puppy. So we have to be very careful of by me. We feel very powerful, but don't forget, in an instant, that could be taken from us. And then the third level of consciousness is through me. We start to open. I'm available. I'm ready. I know that there's a power greater than I am, and it can use me, and I can use it. And the fourth level, which we're all here to live as, is as me. Let God live its life as you and as me. Lead me where you need me, and I will follow. I am here for you. I am here for life. I am here to serve in whatever capacity that I am led. I am the light, because that is who I am. I am the light of God. I shine that light everywhere I go. So really to think about, every time we say to me, I'm not going there today. It's recognizing it. So it's moving up, up, up until we truly surrender. Lead me where you need me, and I will follow. And so it is. Amen.